Hey there! Today we're going to have a look at a pen that was sent to me by Martemodena, Italian online pen retailer. And it is the Chronicle. Comes in a wooden box. Thank you to Martemodena for sending me this. Little cardboard outer sleeve. And here you have the box. Wooden box. It's nice. Smells of pine. And in there is the pen. Now I'm a little careful here because I haven't really secured it, but there you go. Okay, what's in the box? I'm going to cover the parts, the pen tear, what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and then we'll do a writing sample. This is the Chronicle Country. There are some other Chronicles too. This is the Country. Fine Italian handmade box. Little card to tell you that. Then there is the Chronicle. That's obviously another type of Chronicle from what I'm going to show you, because the pen I got is the Country, which is brown. It's stamped and all that for your warranty. And it's just a little bit of history about the pen and the warranty. There are some warranty exclusions. It says the warranty does not cover products with defects caused by bumps, accidental breakage, misuse of the products, acts of war, and similar. So just so you know. Okay, the pen. Oops, sorry, that was the box opening. It's a pretty pen. Comes a little pen sleeve, plastic pen sleeve. Here you have the pen. All right, so that's not bad at all. I'm going to cover the parts of the pen tear, what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and then we'll do a writing sample. Top of the pen, it's nothing, same material as the rest of the barrel and the cap. We have the cap, we have the Martemodena logo there, tiny clip, and 2 rings. But it's a very pretty finish, I find. The clip is stiff, but does work. Let's see how well that fares. Yeah, definitely stiff, but it slides over something fairly easily. Pen tapers down, very classic shape, and then ends right there. I'll come back to that in a second. Barrel and a blind cap. So before I uncap the pen, actual old-fashioned nice blind cap with a little piston turning knob. It's not a piston filler, it's a captive converter. So there is a converter in here, but you can operate it from right there without having to open up the barrel. Cap screws on. And one thing I hadn't shown you yet is that at the bottom here of the cap it says Chronicle. It also gives you a number, limited edition, 149. I'm just no, never mind. So 149 numbered pen. That's kind of nice. Barrel, hourglass shaped, threads, bit of a step down, but it's very rounded off, very nicely made. And then a nib. The nib says B for broad, Martemodena M, and I'm pretty sure this is gold-plated steel. So that's not bad at all. And one thing I really enjoyed is that feed is actually clear. So I have a brown ink in it now, and you can see it's colored brown because it's a clear plastic feed, which is kind of nice. I mean, that does add to the looks of the pen. You can unscrew the barrel, so you can operate the piston, the converter like this if you prefer that to the unscrewing of the blind cap and operating the piston turning knob from there. And it is it's just a converter, so it just pushes into the pen, which also means that if you really want to, I guess you can use cartridges instead of a converter. It's a nicely sized pen. It's definitely a bigger section. It's quite girthy. It's not a super long pen, but it's very comfortable for me to hold. And what do I do with the cap? Here we go. It actually posts. Not super deeply, but it does pull, and you have a nicely sized pen there. Okay, so an attractive pen, what do I like about it? Looks nice. Nice finish. which I enjoy. Looks refined. I like the 2 gold rings here and then a separate gold ring there. It looks classy. Gold ring there again. I do enjoy that. Number 6 nib. That's always nice because there's quite some number 6 nibs fairly easily available, so you can always switch it around. The nib, it wrote, it's a smooth writer. This is the broad. It's available in fine, medium, and broad. This is the broad. It's not an ultra wide broad. I would say it's a good medium, but it always depends a bit on what you're used to, what you expect. But it's smooth, it writes well, and I think that clear feel is really cool because it's just nice to see the ink. So I like that. I like the packaging. I mean, wooden box, handmade. You can see it's handmade too. It's not perfect. There is definitely a ridge there. So but in a way, I enjoy that it's not a machine-made perfect box. It adds a bit to the whole feeling of the pen. So I do think that's nice. So I like the looks, I like the shape, I like the size, it's comfortable to write with, the nib writes well, so all of that's great. I mean, no issues there. As to the price, I don't think that is horrible either. It sells for 90 euros and 16 cents. So 90 euros. That's by no means super inexpensive, but as far as fountain pens go, that's not that horrible either, and you do get a very nice looking pen for that money. There is one complaint I have. I was a little astonished at that. I'm not sure what happened here, but you put the pen in a bottle of ink, you operate this turning knob, and no ink was drawn up. I mean, a little bit was drawn up, but this is what you get. That's the complete fill. There must be an air leak somewhere, because this apparently doesn't draw a vacuum, otherwise it would draw up ink. There's always a little air bubble, but it shouldn't be air bubble ink, it should be ink air bubble. Yeah. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if it's something in my particular pen. That's always the problem if you review pens, because you get one, so you don't know if it's unique to your pen. But the converter doesn't draw up ink, which is a problem. Now, is there a way around it? Of course, and I've tried it out. You can take out the converter, you can ink that up directly from the bottle of ink, and then there's no problems. So the converter is not defective. I'm not sure if the pen is defective, but as I said, I think there's an air leak here somewhere, which means that air leaks out and there's not a full vacuum and you can't draw up ink. And that's a shame. Now, again, I don't know if that's unique to this particular pen or if it's something with the model, but in any case, if you go through the lengths of making a blind cap like this and basically have a captive converter design like this, clearly you expect people to operate that blind cap, put the pen in ink and draw up ink, right? But if that doesn't work, that's a problem, because that means that design feature didn't really work. Now, as I said, there's a way around it. You can just do it the old-fashioned way, take off the barrel, take out the converter, fill that with ink and put it in. And once it's filled, it flows well. It writes really nicely, so there's no issues there. It's just that's a problem, right? That should not be the case. Having said that, the only other thing I would say is I don't think it's horribly priced for what you get. It's a nice package. It's definitely a nice pen. I mean, as I said before, I mean the material is pretty. It does look nice. One thing I would say, if I have to complain about something, is I find the clip a little small. It's to me it looks a little bit disproportionate. Now I know that a lot of vintage pens have clips like that, so maybe they were trying to go for a bit of a vintage look. I would have no trouble believing that, given the looks of the rest of the pen. Calling this modeled hard rubber, that's maybe a bit of a stretch, but I can see how it would be. It's a very classical shape with the taper, with the blind cap and all that. So maybe that's what they were going for, and if it is, then indeed that small clip that kind of matches the rest of the pen. Having said that, I mean, that's a bit of, as I said, a bit of an aesthetic issue. Some people may like a smaller clip like that. I have no issues with that. It does work, it does perform well as a clip, so no issues there. For me, the big issue was the drawing up ink. That's a bigger problem. Having said that, nice pen. I would say I find it fairly reasonably priced. There's a couple of finishes, so if you don't like the brown, but for example you prefer the blue, then of course there's other options. serial numbers, etc. And nice nibs, steel nib, but gold plated, and it writes very comfortably. So there you have it. Thank you again to Martemodena for sending me this pen. I appreciate it. We need to see how the pen writes. That's what's coming up next. High resolution pictures as well as measurements of the pen will be on the website sbrebrown.com. Hope this was useful so far, and I'll gladly see you later. Bye bye. Okay, so here we go with the Martemodena Chronicle. That rattling you hear, that's the converter. I forgot to point that out earlier. And some people I know cannot handle this. So if you have a very light hand, you may not hear it so much. But if you are a bit more, I know people who write like that, you may hear that a bit more. Okay, fast writing. What I will say is the nib is smooth. And with those impacts you really hear that converter. A couple of skips, but I don't think that's that terrible. So that's definitely nice. So a nice steel nib with gold plating. That I think it looks nice, and it's really quite smooth. Wetness, well, I had no complaints there. The ink is diamine ancient copper, and it's well-behaved ink and definitely a nicely tuned nib. Line variation. There is some to be had. It's nothing to really write home about, but if you have to, you can squeeze out some line variation for sure. And then there is the reverse writing, which is actually quite smooth. Forgot the I there, but you get the point. And definitely allows you to go from, I would say, well, it is a broad nib, but I would call this a good medium to a fine. So there's definitely some what do you call that? Something to be gained if you need a quick finer nib. I'm pushing down a bit on it now to really show you the saturation and the things you can do with the nib. I think it's a nice pen and definitely a nice nib. It's a very smooth writer, which is great. Okay, that's all there's to it. A kind thank you again to Martemodena for sending me the pen. I appreciate it. I hope this was useful, and I'll gladly see you later. Bye bye. Bye.